Hello everybody, welcome to this introduction to netball. I am very excited about this. Got a lot to tell you because I was getting feedback from you throughout term one, I guess, when we were remote learning at home and at the end. What you told me was you wanted more sporty things. You wanted more things where you collaborate and work together. You wanted creative things, and people wanted more story writing as well. And so kind of looked at this and thought, well, looking at what we have to cover and taking all your ideas together, netball might be the way to do it. Put it all together, have a really big plan. And so what I've done is I've got in contact with someone in Scotland. I've got in contact with Netball Scotland already. Now, they are the organisation who sends our team to the Olympics, to the Commonwealth Games, and they look over the league in Scotland as well, which is becoming bigger and bigger all the time. And they've agreed to help us out as much as they can remotely. They can't come into the classroom, sadly, but they'll be able to do a lot from computers and that, and so we have a lot planned. So this term, we're going to be looking at netball. We're going to be looking at sewing. We're going to be looking at food, smoothies and salads, things like that. We're going to do a lot of story writing as well. And I want you to feed into it a lot as well, because you kind of gave me these ideas. What would you like to know about netball? What would you like to do too? I want to get your ideas, so if you want to comment on Teams, that would be great. But this is an introduction to netball, so we best get started then. What is netball? Have a wee pause right now. What do you know about netball? Do you know anything about it? Could you write it down? Could you write down some bullet points or maybe draw some things that you know about the game? Go ahead. I'd love to see that if you could. Maybe you don't know anything. Well, let me explain. Here is a netball court. Okay, look at that, lovely facilities. Maybe we'll get something like that in the new school. Something nice outside for Mr. Douglas. He'd be loving it. Yes, this is a netball court outside. Now, when you look at that court, what do you notice about it? There's two things that jump out to me right away. It's split into three areas, really. Can you see that there's like three rectangles on that pitch? Yeah, 1, 2, 3. And then at either end of the pitch, there's that semicircle. Make a semicircle, make... Wait, we're used to doing that in class, aren't we? Yeah, there's a semicircle at either end of the pitch. That's called the goal area. And then there's a little circle right in the middle. That's called the centre spot. You might be like, oh, this is a bit similar. I've seen things like this in basketball and in football and even American football. They've got a halfway line and then a goal area. Yeah, it's all very similar, actually. It's the same sort of idea there. So that is a netball court. You'll notice as well at either end there are nets high up. Now, they're not like basketball hoops, which have got a backboard to them, so you can hit the ball off the board and it goes in. In netball, though, there's no backboard. There's just a hoop. So it's a bit harder to get the ball in. Okay. Now, in netball, there are 7 players on a team. 7. How many players are there in football? Do you know? There's 11. What about in basketball? How many players on the court at a time? 5. 5 in basketball, 11 in football. In netball, you get 7 players. And what happens most of the time is they wear bibs, which tells you their position. Okay, so you can see there up above, the women there, they've got goalkeeper and that, and all their initials on it. I'm just about to get to them though, what they are. Now, why do they have their initials on their vest? If I am a goalkeeper in football, yeah, I might wear the goalie gloves and stuff, but I don't have something that says goalkeeper. If I'm the striker, my top doesn't say striker, does it? Might have a number 9. Everybody wants a number 9 these days. But doesn't say that. Why does it say it in netball? Well, it's really for the referees to know. Because in netball, you can't go all over the pitch. Your position tells you where on the pitch you can go. And I've got a wee diagram. Yeah, that way. That way. I've got a wee diagram there that shows you. Look at the top left where it says GK or GK. That is the goalkeeper. The part of the pitch that's highlighted is darker. That's the areas that the goalkeeper is allowed to stand in and move in. You can see there that they can obviously defend the goal area and they can go into that top rectangle, but they can't go into the centre spot. They can't go all the way up and shoot. So if you're a goalkeeper, you've got to stay in that position. Next to it there, you've got goal defence. So they can go into that centre rectangle, but they can't go any further forward. And wing defence can go into the two rectangles, but they can't actually go into the goal scoring area. You've got centre. Centre is able to go into all three of the rectangles, but neither of the goal areas. Wing attack. Wing attack is allowed into the top two rectangles, but not the goal area. You've got goal shooter. They're allowed into both the goal scoring area and the top rectangle, but they're not allowed out of that. And then you've got goal attack, who can cover the centre, the end, and the shooting circle. It's a bit confusing. It can be a lot to get your head around. So, the most useful thing to do is to watch a game of netball. And if we're in class, that's what we do. We just sit down and we'd watch 20 minutes of it. Can't do that. So what I've done is I put a link underneath this video here. Okay, but if you can't find that link or whatever, I'm just going to quickly show you. If you go onto YouTube or even Google, you just go into Google and you type in Netball Scotland, right away up in the video section or on YouTube, this is what comes up right away. You've got full matches from the World Cup 2 years ago. And look at that right at the top. England versus Scotland. It doesn't get much better than that, does it? So, it's very long. I don't expect you to sit down and watch all 2 hours and 11 minutes of it. Nah. Okay, but sit down, watch 10 minutes. You'll see how quick the game is, how agile the players have to be, but you'll also understand the positions. You'll see, you won't see players like running from one end of the court all the way up to the other. They stay in their positions that they're allowed to stay in. It's really, really useful to watch one of those videos. So maybe I'll explain the task next and you might want to come back and do that. Or you could pause the video, watch 10 minutes, then return to this one, whatever one works for you. Because here's your task today. Learning intention. We're learning to understand the rules of netball. That's what we want to do. And the task is to create a netball court in your room and explain how the game is played. So you can, for success criteria, you can do this with anything, any materials you want. You could use socks, white socks and black socks to show the two teams. You could do it with Lego. You could do it with cutlery. Whatever you want. You to make the court, you could use string, you could use towels, you could just even draw it, you could build it. I don't know, whatever you want to do. Can you build the court? Can you explain the positions? Now, to do that, you could just do it at home. You could just explain it to yourself. Be cool if you were able to explain it to someone in your house. Sit them down. You've got 5 minutes to hear me explain the positions in netball. That would be good. And if you could film yourself doing it, because we've had some fantastic submissions by video, that would be amazing too, to explain how do the positions in netball work. So, you can rewind the video again. You can look at that wee diagram that I've got for the positions. Remember, go on, watch some of the Netball World Cup there by just googling it, Netball Scotland. It'll come straight up. And I can't wait to see what you come up with. Good luck with it.